How y'all doing? See, we got who we got here. We got Virginia Prepper, FLP, Slappy. So how's everybody doing tonight? Was that fun or what? Hey, what's up, Backwoods? Oh, that was a ball. That was an absolute ball. Oh, and this is like one of those things again that there's no subject to this. It's just whatever happens, happens, right? Oh yeah. Hey, Mouse, what's up, hon? Yeah, one of the things, and it came right at the end of the chat. Jay said something. I didn't have a chance to. I was laughing too hard. I didn't have a chance to comment on it. But Jay's like, yeah, I was talking to one of my state trooper buddies, and he said that he was practicing handcuffing on his wife. So then Jay's like, so how many times did you take the fur line handcuffs to work? Oh yeah, Piglet is funny. Hey Mickey. Oh man, yeah, but that I was just laughing too hard between that and Zeus pretty much throwing the trash can across the room, and oh, it's been I've had an interesting day. Let's put it that way. Hey, but at least I woke up. Like I don't know if you guys seen one of the comments I said at the beginning of the chat, like before the chat started. Today, if you wanted to practice your driving for SHTF on a packed highway, today would have been the day to do it on 376. There was an accident on the turnpike, so they detoured all the traffic down 376. Oh, was that a good times? Good times. Note I'm saying that sarcastically, but that was good times. Yeah, I have a traumatized dog now. He's hey Nina. Yeah, Zeus is giving the trash can a the stink eye now. Like, you may bite. Mm. So y'all have any idea what you guys want to talk about tonight, or just shoot the bull, or hey Rosanna, how you doing, hon? Yeah, I'm hoping. Well, tomorrow said it's supposed to rain all day, but yes, it was, Nina. Oh, it was a. I had a blast. I had an absolute blast. But yeah, I'm hoping tomorrow if it doesn't rain too much, I'm gonna get that stove out. I have an idea what I'm gonna do now. Something I seen on another channel. I'm gonna give it a try. But don't know if I'm gonna do it behind the house or if I'm gonna do it on the trail someplace. And tell Mouse that if I go in the North Country Trail, I'll definitely let her know. Hey, well, oh well, you have to go back and watch it. It was fun. It was just a fun chat, man. Absolutely, absolutely fun. And FLP, thank you for sending me the link. It was an honor. How you doing, Frank? And before I forget, because Mouse likes it, how y'all doing? But yeah, I got some ideas for that. Hey, Brett. But I got some other ideas I'm working on already for when the weather breaks. One of the things I think I'm going to do next year, though, is everything I wanted to. A lot of things I want to do this year kind of got pushed to the background because of the photography. Hey, T Bear. Hugs back to you. Because of photography, a lot of stuff got pushed back, so I didn't have a chance to do half the things I wanted to do. So this year, probably right after Christmas, I'm going to start doing my schedule for next year for the photography, and I'm going to try to keep that down a little bit more so I could go out and do more stuff for the channel here. And I'm still kicking around the idea of doing a Patreon. Um, I'm gonna I'm working on getting some information lined up for that too. But eventually, I am going to have a Patreon too. But one of the things, though, hey Grumpy, one of the things I'm thinking about doing though with my channel, since I'm like an outdoors channel. Hey Timo, um, is there's a thing that we have up here because I try to focus on everything outdoors related, even the scientific stuff. One thing I've always wanted to do with the two state parks that are close to me, which would be Moraine and McCall's Mills, is they have a thing called the Trail of Geology, and I want to talk to them. Go up to Moraine and talk to the rangers up there, and see if they'd be interested in partner going in with me on that, and maybe they could use it for their park too. So kind of get kind of work with them there a little bit. But I think it'd be an interesting subject. And the one thing I've been trying to do with this channel is try to focus on some of the things that nobody's doing hardly at all. Hey Moiser. Hey moms. Exactly. And that trail of geology, I'm sitting there. I downloaded the PDF for it, and it's only like an 18-page PDF, but I think I could do it and make it interesting enough that I could probably do it over. Oh, I could probably do maybe about 10 videos off of it, maybe. But something like I was going to do a playlist and do the order of the trail of geology. So if somebody has like unlimited data on their phone, unless they're down in the gorge in Collins Mills. But like you could go to the point, watch the video, and I'm going to point out stuff in the video, and they could like follow along and see exactly what I'm doing and what I'm talking about as I'm talking about it. So, oh, thank you, Moiser. I think it's like my third one of these. Every time I go in, says, "What cap do you want?" They have this goofy looking cap, and they got this. I'm like, "Give me the camo thing." The other one's just that. Yeah, the other one's just too loud. But that's another thing. That's more of a long term project, but that's another thing I'm working on too. And another thing I think I'm going to do once the weather breaks is I'm hoping to get the metal detector out. So maybe even have some metal detecting on this as well. So just some things to look forward to anyway. And the last thing, there is one other thing. I'm working on. I'm going to line up some trails. I'm going to start doing trail reviews too. Also, it's been a while since I've actually had my metal detector out, but I've had fun with that thing before. And I didn't even go anywhere special. I just went out in the woods behind the house and started just looking for stuff. And I usually find like old shotgun shells, and I found some 30-06 brass back there, and um, there's a couple places I'm going to go back there that's a little bit more specific. I'm going to see if I can find any relics there. Hey, old man. Yeah, I got a what's the one I have? It's right over here. Okay, buddy. I got a bounty hunter Lone Star, which has been a while since it's been fired up. But I'm looking around. I found a couple different coils for it, and I could do coin shooting with it, and a couple other things. Eventually, when it comes to metal detectors, I eventually want to get a Garrett. Yeah, I got the Lone Star here. I also got the pinpointer too. Those pinpointers come in. Those things are one of the most handy things for metal detecting because the metal detector itself will put you on it, but the pinpointer, once you get your plug out, you can just start jamming the pinpointer in it, and as soon as you hear that pinpointer go off, you found it. Just take down to the base of the pinpointer, and there it is. Okay, what's up? It's okay, buddy. It's okay, buddy. Yeah, where's the pinpointer? Hey, there's the pinpointer. Yeah, this is a pinpointer. This is these things. These things come in extremely handy. But this one I got from Dunham's, I think for like $30. It's another bounty hunter piece. So I have it's matched. This is actually matched to my metal detector. Oh, I hear you right. I hear you there, Backwoods. Every time I move the metal detector, he kind of gets a little funny about that. That's attacked him once or twice too. And if you're wondering why I have it on this harness, so I don't have to keep on digging it out and putting it back away and digging it back out. I can just clip it right on my belt loop and away I go. Oh, these things, I tell you what, Miles, these things are worth their weight in gold. What this does is, if you ever had to dig through a plug and use a metal detector trying to figure out what it was, this will cut your time by 3/4. Easy. Oh, this is probably one of the best for a metal detector. This is probably one of the best investments I've made. Yep, that's exactly what it is, Will. Hey, I go for it because it's one of those things. Is metal detecting is one of those things. Is once you get the how to adjust it down, you can teach yourself how to do it in about 15 minutes to half an hour. Just to find stuff. Then once you start finding stuff, and you hear what your tones are. You could after a while you could wave that metal detector over something, and the way the tone is, you can tell what it is. So like, am I going to dig that or am I not going to dig that? And if it's like a goofy tone or a growly tone, see this one supposedly does it too, but I found it to be probably about 50% accurate. Because there's one time it showed me that I had scrap metal. I dug it up and it ended up being brass. I'm like, okay, it's not exactly scrap metal, brass. It was a brass casing, and I used to collect those. So it's just like that. It was an old 30-06. No, I take that back. That one I found was a 308 brass from back in the house there. Exactly, Will. Back gas there. Try again. Yeah, that's the other thing I want to talk to the state park about is I want to see how things go with the trail geology first. If that goes well, and I can start working in conjunction with them, because I have the ear of a couple, two, three of the guys in there. If I can start working with them, and I may ask them next if I could take the metal detector in to a couple areas I know of in Moraine, maybe one or two around McCall's Mills, and see what kind of relics we could pull up. Now, everything that I find will go to the park, and I have no problem with that. But that'll help the park out, kind of piece together their history a little bit. I won't say pieces together because they know pretty much the history of the park and what was there before the park was there. But it'll kind of personalize it, I guess. It'll kind of personalize that history a little bit more than what it is, because it's kind of like an overview. But they can like specific pieces and like, okay, this came from this homestead, this came from this oil well site over here, this came from this old mill over there. Yeah, but I'm going to test the waters first with that trilogyology because I think they've been burned before by people, because you are allowed to metal detect on in the park. What they want you to do is if you find something, either give it to the park or put it back in the hole. You can't take it. And as I said, I'm fine with that. If I can metal detect and give the stuff to the park, let even if it's junk, let them decide what to do with it. But at least I can find it. If they find a couple pieces in there that they like, mission accomplished. And the one, as I said, the one thing is, I've never done that, old man. The only metal detecting that I have done is on dry ground. Never metal detected a beach. Never been in the water. Um, but talking about that water, another thing I want to try, I just have to find a couple of good places to do it. Is have you guys ever heard of magnet fishing? You get the biggest, strongest magnet that you could find. You tie a rope to it, and you throw it either like down a well or in a like a deep swimming hole in the creek or something like that, and see what you could pull out. And yeah, you can find some really interesting stuff like that too. See that I haven't tried that yet, but I mean, you get a magnet, you get a rope, you throw it in a hole and see what you get. It's just like regular fishing. In a sense, it's like regular fishing. Put the lure on, throw it out, wind it back. If you catch something, you catch something. If not, cast again. But there might be a couple cool places around Moraine to do that. Um, I've been there before, Slappy. I have a magnet in the garage set up just for that. It's funny Slappy should say that. I used to have a Honda Civic, and I used to do most of the work on it myself. And one time I dropped my socket down, it went like up underneath the manifold in the back. It was like I think that was the intake, and no, that was the exhaust manifold in the back. But there's like a like a little shelf on the engine in that Honda. What's funny is I kept on sticking the magnet down there trying to pull my socket out, and I'm pulling out everything but my socket. I got like 5 more sockets that day. I'm just like, this is weird, and it's all the same size I dropped. So I lost one 10 millimeter, but I ended up getting 6 after everything was said and done. Oh, I have I have no idea, old man. The one that I have set up for the Honda was just a stack of magnets I stuck on a coat hanger just to fish it around and get stuff out. It's whatever it is, what it is. I don't have a magnet though for magnet fishing. I have to get one yet. Oh, it is. It is. Ask any mechanic. A 10 millimeter socket is worth its weight in gold. And that is one socket that most mechanics will probably have about 5 of because they know they're going to lose one sooner or later. Hey, Grumpy. Well, go down to the Mon down. Wait, that mystery plane, didn't that thing crash into the Mon years ago? That old bomber? I think it was the Mon, or no, or was it the I think it's maybe it's the Allegheny. I heard about that. I read about that. That was before my time, but I think it was a B-17 bomber right after World War II crashed into the Allegheny. It was the Allegheny River, and they never found it. They supposedly never found this plane. They think it fell through a crack or slipped down through the mud, and there's a underground river underneath the Allegheny. It's in that. That's what they think, anyway. Which all depends on what the magnet clings onto, because those planes are made out of aluminum. Yeah, Mickey, it is a wild story. Yeah, because they seen the plane crash and went to Night T Bear. They went to find the wreckage because they knew the plane went down. They went to find the wreckage and they never found it. And backwards, you think like I do because that'd be my luck too. I'll start pulling up handguns and this and that and the other thing, and you turn them in, and they're just like, "Where'd you find all these?" I found them with the magnet in the river. Okay, I hope you like doing paperwork, boy. Oh, I hear you, Slappy. That's what I have a Jeep Renegade, and I'm putting the toolkit together for that. And I'm not even gonna put American in. I'm just putting all metric in it because that's what it is. It's basically a Fiat. It's a Fiat 500L with a different body slapped on it. Hey, thanks, Squib. I'll keep that in mind, old man. That's just like magnet fishing in Marine State Park. Um, Marine State Park was actually flooded. So, hey, what's up, Doobie? Was actually like flooded farmland and all. There's like a bunch of stuff. Like there's a couple small towns that are underneath the water. So who knows what you pull up there? But a lot of that stuff. I have a book on the history of Marine State Park. The one end. Hey, anytime, FLP. You have a great night. All right. Oh, I understand that, man. You go do what you need to do, and you have a good night. I hope you feel better, buddy. But on the one end, um, there was a big oil field. Now, if you look at they have a map of all the oil wells that are underneath the lake. They knew of about 5 that were capped before they actually finished the dam and started filling the lake in. Hey, Cheryl. They actually had to find the rest of those wells and get them capped properly before they filled it up. That in itself was interesting. Which that's also, um, if you ever go to Marine State Park, there's you have to kind of keep an eye on on your website. They also have what they call the Wildcat area, and what it is, it's an old shackle line oil well system, and that's I've seen them work before, but it's a wild setup because they'll run upwards of 12 wells off of one engine. They got this big Bessemer steam engine type deal, and they'll get it running, and it runs a gearbox to a turntable and oscillates this turntable back and forth like this. And when it goes back and forth like this, it will start operating all the welds that are attached to that turntable. It's a neat operation, and theirs is severely shortened. I've seen setups like that where the wells would be about a quarter to a half a mile away from where that turntable's at. I take it that didn't go well, Squib. You had that, Squib? In the middle of the chat, my dog's collar got caught on the waste paper can. And next thing I look over, he's running backwards trying to save his own life, and he's flung the waste paper can halfway across the room and hit my shelves upside down. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dog? I love my puppy. Oh boy, that's it. He knows what I'm talking about him. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying to catch the trash can before it makes too much noise. I'm like, there's stuff flying everywhere. And good night, Nina. Have a good night and a great weekend, hon. But that's my dog. I love my dog though, so it's stuff that he does like that keeps me thoroughly entertained. Kind of traumatizes him, but I'm sorry, it's just funny. Yeah, as I was talking about those state park. Oh yeah, they are. But getting back to what I was saying about the state park stuff, there's another thing with McConnell's Mills. Most of the rangers there are, I wouldn't say they're new, but they're newer. And I was talking to the one, she's kind of like the head ranger over there, Natalie. I was talking to her, and I need to get in touch with her because there's a section of park that none of them's been. It's kind of like I won't say a new, and it's a newer crew, but there's a part in the McConnell's Mills that none of the Rangers have been in yet, and I haven't been in yet. That's the only part of McConnell's Mills I haven't been in, and it's kind of like McConnell's Mills isn't really like just one big conjoined park. They have like little parts of it here, little parts of it there, and I've been in all of them except for the one. And the only reason I haven't been in the one is I have not really found a good place to park yet. Once I find a good place to park where I could get into and not have to worry about my car getting hit alongside the road, we're going to go down in there. But she wants to go with me just to see what we find. Because I'm also helping with McCall's Mills. I'm helping another friend of mine. She's writing a book on the history of McCall's Mills and all the different businesses and homes and everything that were in that park. And I believe it is. Um, if not, here, give me 1 second here. Well, Mums, he just might do that. Yeah, he just might live there, and that's fine with me. That's fine with me. I'll invite him to come with me. Come on, Bigfoot, let's go. You're taller than me. You can knock down all the cobwebs. Go. Oh, if it's half the other things I've run across in the woods at times, though, it's just like I'd rather run into Bigfoot. Seriously, like the one time I was on a hike and nothing happened to me, but I'm hiking along and I hear this buzzing. I look a little bit further out ahead of me. See, this is where I need Nina. There was a huge, and I mean a huge, honeybee hive in this hollow tree. I mean, it's not just you see a couple honeybees. There's like a cloud, a swarm of honeybees around there, and about 10 times more inside the tree. But the whole problem is in order to get around this where it was, there's a cliff here, tree, trail, cliff that drops down here. So that kind of ended that hike real quick. Um, I know I'm allergic to wasps, but I didn't want to get stung by any bees and find out I was allergic to them too. I'm like, oh, I guess we're done here. I just turn around and walk back. Yeah, not a good idea to. Am I allergic to honeybees? Let's walk through the swarm and see what happens. Hope I don't go in. Oh, I'm anaphylactic and I'm 5 miles away from the car. This ain't going to end well. Exactly, Miles. Oh, it was a while. Well, what I did though is I thought it was a little close, so I backed off probably about like 10, 15 feet and just sat there and watched them for. Thank you, old man. I sat back and watched them for about a half an hour. You want to talk about mesmerizing? It's stuff like that just fascinates me. I can sit there and just watch that and just like, huh. And what was weird is it seems like every time people think like insects don't know how to think. I'm not saying they're intelligent, like intelligent, but they have a way of doing things. Because every time, the way it was is like every time one went in, two more would come out. It's like I watched it long enough to kind of start picking up the pattern of that. And then they'd be like that for a while until like I won't say the hive was empty, but like all the ones that were going to go out were out. So then it was two going in and one coming out. So they kept rotating like that. But it was cool. Absolutely cool. Yeah, but you want to see somebody freak out and just kill a wasp on sight? That's me. I see a wasp or hornet, it's dead. Dead. I don't care. And I've seen this meme online. It's just honeybees. Definitely good for the environment, blah, 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 blah. Don't kill these. I'm like, I can agree with that. Then it goes wasp, hornets, and yellow jackets. Assholes with wings. Oh, yeah, they can. But what's messed up is we had a yellow jacket nest in our yard that when we finally found it, it hadn't been there since spring, and we found it at the end of the summer. We've been mowing over top of these things, running back and forth. I've probably stepped on that stupid hive at least 100 times. They didn't care. They didn't bother us. That's the whole thing. There's really tiny little yellow jackets about that big. They didn't bother us. Like I don't know how many times I ran a lawnmower over them, and it's like I'll tell you, I sit there taking pictures of them coming in and out of the hive. I'm literally almost on top of the hive, and they never even bothered me. Hey, Juanita. Oh yeah, because we had another yellow jacket nest last year out in our pasture. That's where I played with my dog at. I threw his toy for him, and he come back, and I seen him trailing him when he come back. I opened up the gate, and we both ran out and kind of made a beeline for the house. Then I found out what had him so stirred up. The skunk came in, dug up her nest. Oh, they were madder than hell. Oh, we found out how we don't really carry. Well, see, wasp spray on yellow jackets in the ground don't work that well, but we found a way to kill them without fire. You could use fire. It makes things more interesting, a lot more fun. But oh, I can imagine, moms. What we did is we take a 20-ounce bottle of Pepsi, like an empty bottle of like empty. We're Pepsi drinkers, so we take this 20-ounce bottle. We fill it, I think, about halfway with gas. We just take the bottle, we turn it upside down at night under nest, and just let it go. When you come out in the morning, the gas fumes will have them all dead. Because what happens is that raw fuel goes to the bottom of the nest, and when it starts to evaporate, it comes back up to the nest and suffocates them. Now you could dump it down there, leave it for about an hour. I won't say an hour, maybe about a half an hour. Pull the bottle, throw a match, and run like hell. Hey, Timo. Hey, Frank. Yeah, chlorine gas is. That's why we use the gasoline. We use good old 87. You're leaving too, Brett. Have a good night, buddy. But yeah, that's what we use. We use gasoline on those things. Kills them. Next morning, you go out there. You just what we do is we pull the bottle, make sure there's none coming out. If there's nothing coming out, we take dirt and tamp it back in the hole and go on with life. I do want to try that though. Who said that? Mums, I think, said that. Molten aluminum. I do. I would love to try doing a molten aluminum casting of a yellow jacket hive. I think that'd be awesome. What am I drinking? I'm drinking diet citrus green tea from Lipton. I love this stuff, and it's the only diet drink I will drink. Oh yeah, plants don't like chlorine very much, not at all. And the gasoline thing with ones in the ground is a lot better than what I've done a couple times with hornet's nest. Don't use wasp spray on them. I used to use WD-40 in a lighter. Hope it reaches. Kill them with fire. Sets half the tree up too, but eh. Hey, at least I do that stuff outside. You ever hear about these guys that live in the trailer parks? That the guys in the trailer parks that they're probably either drunk or stoned and they're trying to get rid of spiders, or they're running around with a blowtorch in the trailer trying to kill spiders, and they wonder why the trailer burnt down. You're probably right there, Mouse. See, I don't mind spiders. I just don't like them in the house. And a lot of times, depend if it wasn't because we'll get brown recluse and black widows here. Those guys die. But if I found like a big old wolf spider about that big around, I try to catch that thing live, and I used to put them in the barn. They are, but I'm allergic to them. So, well, that kind of overbalances what they'll do with what they'll do with the caterpillars. But we have bats around here for all the insects. So, oh geez, we had a guy do that. We had a guy do that on the other side of the hollow. He had like the whole hillside was infested with moles. So they filled up the whole thing with oxyacetylene, sparked it, and next thing you know, here comes the fire department and the bomb squad. He literally blew the whole hillside up. You could walk out like, "What'd you do?" He goes, "Just killing moles." Yeah, he took out half the neighbor's yard too. Come here, little gopher. Yeah, Bill Murray and Cat. Well, who's the Bill Murray's in Caddyshack One? Wasn't Dan Aykroyd in Caddyshack Two in the same role as Bill Murray was in? I think it was Dan Aykroyd. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not a big mole fan. Oh, there you go. Our one golden retriever we used to have, we never we when we had our golden retriever, we never had moles because he would he would bounce. He'd listen to the ground and bounce like a fox does. That's why if you ever see a fox, hey, I had HBO. I was bored that day. But if you ever see a fox, like you ever watch the videos of a fox and be jumping up and down, they'll like jump up and like smack their front paws on the ground. What they're doing is they're trying to get a mole to come back topside. And when they do that, for some reason, the mole will come out. Like the fox will listen, see which way the mole's going, and just kind of keep pushing the mole like that. Our golden retriever used to do the same thing. As soon as the mole come out, he'd nail him every time. Yeah, but that's one thing I may do is if oh, that's cool, moms. I've seen gray fox before. The one I have not seen yet in the wild. I've seen them on the road. I've seen pictures of them, but I've never seen one in the wild. I have yet to see a coyote in the wild. I've seen gray fox, red fox, bear, pine martens, weasels, mink, all kind. I've never seen a coyote. It's been oh, that's cool. Yeah, we red fox. When was that? About a month ago, over on Cranberry. Yeah, pretty much is, and the reason they're making those tunnels, they're looking for food. Thank you, Backwoods. You have a nice night, buddy. Now, one thing I'm thinking about making, getting back to what I was saying there, is I was actually thinking about making a couple bat boxes. And the reason for the bat boxes is we don't really have a bat population around here anymore. But when we had a I won't say a huge bat population, but when we had bat population here, we never had a problem with biting insects. Never had a problem with it. So I'm not even gonna put them on the yard. I'm gonna put them like back in the woods someplace, so they can actually get back in their natural environment instead of just being in the box. They're in the box in their own environment. So kind of like a standoff measure. Yeah, that's the other idea. But there was a point in time we had about 40 or 50 bats around here, but only like about two or three of them would hang around. When they leave for the night to go hunt, they take off like all different directions. But like two or three would hang around here, do their thing around here. Then in the morning, like right before the right before it started getting real bright, you can see them all coming back in. Night, Moiser. Yeah, see, I hear them around here. I hear them around here all the time. I think they would. Bats. If it's nine times out of ten, if it's an insect, the bat will eat it, except for like maybe a wasp or a hornet or something like that. But most of those deer fly and horse flies and mosquitoes and stuff like that, they'll just chow down on those things. Oh, I know. It's just I I love watching bats. That's another thing. I love watching them. I love hearing their little clicks. To me, just stuff like that's fascinating because that's how they locate their food. If you're a bat and you hear the little clicks, what they're doing is that click is like a radar. And what they do is when they click, the noise goes out, bounces off of like the insect that they're going after, and comes back to them. So it works like a radar. And they'll tune right in on it and get it. Exactly, Mickey. Echolocation. So like dolphins use that too. Yeah, because I know the coyotes around here, when they have their young, they'll be training the young to hunt behind the house, and that's the whole thing. The coyotes here in Pennsylvania aren't really true coyotes; they're actually hybrids. Um, I was talking to a couple of state biologists for the game commission, and they have them tracked from coming out west. When they got to the Great Lakes, they actually went north of the Great Lakes. But when they got north of the Great Lakes, they actually lost that gene track, and it's like a hybrid gene track coming back out. And what they did is when they got above the Great Lakes, they crossbred with timber wolves. Then when they came back down around the Great Lakes, that's what we got here. Is we got those hybrids. Like out west where they still have true coyotes, they're solitary creatures, but the ones around here will pack hunt. That is a wolf mentality type of thing. On part of it, the other part of it is coyotes can interbreed with dogs too. So you might have a little bit of that too. That I don't know. I would love to know that because we have stink bugs in the house. I'll turn a couple bats loose in here. Have at it. If you eat those things, have at it. No, we do not. But what's neat is when they're running behind the house and they're hunting, the coyote, the ones around here, they hunt really weird because you think when they hunt in a pack that the whole pack stays together. They don't. I'll be on the back porch having a smoke. You'll hear one call over here. You hear one bark over here. You hear one howl over here. Then you'll be listening like about four or five of them. But as you listen to them, you notice where the sounds come from. They're converging. They kind of have their quarry at that point surrounded, and they're converging on one spot. And when you hear them go absolutely ape, they're killing whatever they cornered. Oh, but listen to coyotes back here. It's just wild. I've been I've listened to them on the back porch. I've also been back in the woods and listened to them back in the woods too. Kind of just sitting up on the point, just listening to them over on the other side of the valley. That was neat. It kind of reminds, in a weird way, listening to those coyotes kind of reminds me of when we used to coon hunt. There's nothing like standing in the middle of the woods. Oh yeah, we have a lot of that around here, Miles. But back to what I was saying about the coon hunting. There's nothing that'll give you the thrill like being in the woods and hearing a coon dog bawl on track. Oh my God, that's probably one of the most beautiful noises that I know of. Most people say it's racket. That's just a beautiful noise. And when they get to the tree, they start chopping tree. Oh, kind of gets the blood pumping. Exactly. That's the whole thing. A little funny story for you is um, a friend of mine got a dog. I'm like, okay, they're non-hunters. He says, you have to come over and see my dog. So I go over and see the dog, and I look down and says, oh, you got a walker. He said, you got yourself a walker coonhound. That is a treeing walker. He says, what the hell do you think a treeing walker is? It's a coonhound. Don't tell me what it is. I'll tell you what it is. I've ran these dogs before. Come on now. But they're trying to be sophisticated. It's a treeing walker. When they bawl, they treat them like, no, that's not treeing. That's what the AKC said. The AKC knows nothing about coonhounds, okay? When they're baying, it means they're on track because they're tracking. They start baying when they're running. When they get to the tree and they look up the tree and they see that coon, that's when they start that chop, that pop, 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 pop. That's because they can see the coon and they can't get to it and they're frustrated. Yeah, yes, they will, Juanita. Yeah. Well, there for a while, the coyote and the coy dog around here, they had a bounty on them. Yeah, I think there for a while they had like a $25 bounty on every coyote you could kill. And I know Pennsylvania, you could pretty much hunt coyote. I think even during deer season, you can hunt coyote year round. Yep, working and hunting dogs, love them. I love you too, Zeus. You're my favorite. He's a good boy. Woke Zeus up again. Oops. Oh, well, I know I missed that because I have it set on top chat. I see that. Oops. See, the whole thing about Tubi is we never thought we had coyotes around here either, and it ends up we did have them. Just for some reason, the population exploded for some reason. We don't know why. Oh, jeez. Oh, I bet you that was one heck of a racket. I think once it warms up, I may try doing some of that hammock camping myself. I got a couple. I mean, I got a couple good hiking tarps. I do have a good hiking hammock too, so it'd be better than carrying a tent. Oh, they are. Now, here's a funny thing. You talk that same game warden about mountain lions. They say there's no mountain lions in Pennsylvania. There's a guy who lives up the street that grew up in Westmoreland County. He has pictures of them in his front yard. Okay, there's no mountain lions. What are those? Where did they come from? And don't tell me that's a very large cat, very large house cat, I should say, because house cats don't get to be the size of a Labrador Retriever. Okay, yeah, I've seen one. I used to deliver down Westmoreland County. I've seen one over by Hempfield. I'm sitting behind Hempfield, waiting to get in a. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sent behind a Target waiting to deliver there. I'm looking over in the woods, and he's just walking through the woods. La 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 la. Okay, but we're reaching that time. Time to do some promos here and call it the night. So there's nothing going on tomorrow night. There's FLP on X Nation is going to have the sit rep. Not exactly sure what time that's going to be. Then 8 o'clock on X Nation is going to be Backwood Laws chat. Monday night 8 o'clock. Tuesday night 8 o'clock. That's going to be my chat here. Then 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock Central Louisiana time is going to be Nina's chat on her channel, Southern Arc Homestead. Then 8:30 Central Louisiana time or 9:30 Eastern is everybody's favorite, the Honey Badger Talk. If you guys haven't been to Honey Badger Talk, go to the Honey Badger Talk. It is a good time. Then Thursday, yeah. Then Thursday, if he does one, he hasn't done one in a couple weeks, but if he does one Thursday, right now it's going to be 6 o'clock Central Louisiana time, 7 o'clock Eastern will be Spicy's on Backwood Rays. That's Nina's son. He always has a good chat too. Then, of course, on Fridays, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and I think it's going to be on X Nation next week, is going to be the panel chat like we had tonight. Then I do the after show. But I think I'm going to call it the night here because the eyelids are starting to get heavy. So you all have a great night. If I don't see you, Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming, and I love you all. Have a good night, everybody.